What is up, Zalcher here. The Hex Mage skill tree uses dark magic to bring enemies down. Its tier 2 skill makes it very versatile and allows it to be used in a variety of builds, even non-mage builds. The Hex Mage skill tree is located in Hermotten, in the Academy. Here, I'll go over all the perks of the Hex Mage skill tree. Tier 1 skills are skills that are available to anyone. You just need to have the silver to pay for the skills, and you do not have to worry about using your limited breakthrough points. So, there is no harm in just buying these skills to experiment with them. You may see this little bar that is connecting these skills right here. This means you have to buy the bottom skill in order to buy the top skill. Jinx is an active skill that costs 8 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 5 seconds. After casting Jinx, it inflicts a random hex debuff on the target. There are 5 hexes that can be applied with Jinx: Chill, Curse, Doom, Haunted, or Scorched. The 2 hexes that are not applied with the Jinx skill are Pain and Confusion. Targets can be inflicted with multiple hexes at the same time. Inflicting a target with a hex that is already on the target will reset the timer for that hex. Targets with the Chill hex have their frost damage and frost resistance decreased by 25% for 240 seconds. Targets with the Curse hex have their decay damage and decay resistance decreased by 25% for 240 seconds. Targets with the Doom hex have their lightning damage and lightning resistance decreased by 25% for 240 seconds. Targets with the Haunted hex have their ethereal damage and ethereal resistance decreased by 25% for 240 seconds. Targets with the Scorched hex have their fire damage and fire resistance decreased by 25% for 240 seconds. Torment is an active skill that costs 10 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 10 seconds. After casting Torment, it triggers a reaction on all nearby enemies afflicted with a hex, with the effects depending on the hexes that the enemies are affected by. It does not remove the hexes from the enemies. For the Chill hex, it deals 25 frost damage and inflicts slowdown, which decreases enemy movement speed by 25%. For the Curse hex, it deals 20 decay damage and inflicts poison, which deals decay damage over time. For the Doomed hex, it deals 20 lightning damage and inflicts weaken, which decreases enemy physical and impact damage by 40%. For the Haunted hex, it deals 20 ethereal damage and inflicts sap, which decreases enemy non-physical damage by 40%. For the Scorched hex, it deals 20 fire damage and inflicts burning, which deals fire damage over time. For the Pain hex, it deals 10 ethereal damage and inflicts bleeding, which deals a percentage of the enemy's health per second. For the Confusion hex, it deals 50 impact damage and reapplies Confusion, which decreases enemy impact resistance by 25%. Nightmares is a passive skill that reduces the rate at which max mana is burnt when sleeping by 25%, but reduces the rate at which burnt stamina is recovered when sleeping by 25%. The original rate at which mana burns when sleeping is 5% per hour, up to a maximum of 50% burnt mana. With this skill, it decreases the burn rate to 3.75% per hour. The original rate at which burnt stamina recovers when sleeping is 12.5% per hour. With this skill, it decreases the recovery rate to 9.375% per hour. Tier 2 consists of a single skill. To buy this skill, you must use a breakthrough point, meaning that you are locked into the skill tree as one of your 3 skill trees. It's a good idea to have at least a general idea of what build you are trying to go for before you use your breakthrough points, as you cannot get them back after you use them. Bloodlust is a passive skill that makes it so that for every death around the player recovers 5 max health, stamina, and mana burn. The player is also healed for 5 health, stamina, and mana. This skill is a great passive to have as it changes the way Outward can be played. After getting this skill, burn stats will be a thing of the past, and managing burn stats will no longer be a problem. Tier 3 skills are locked behind the Tier 2 skill, meaning that to unlock the Tier 3 skills in the skill tree, you have to use a breakthrough point to unlock the Tier 2 skill of the same skill tree. Again, it is generally a good idea to have an idea of what build you want to go for before you choose Tier 2 and Tier 3 skills. Some Tier 3 skills are sitting right next to each other. When you see this, it means that the 2 skills are mutually exclusive, and if you choose one, you cannot choose the other. Blood Sigil is an active skill that requires a dark stone. It costs 7 mana to cast and consumes the dark stone. There is no cooldown. After casting Blood Sigil, it creates a sigil of blood for 60 seconds that can be combined with other spells for different effects. Casting Blood Sigil increases corruption by 5%. While standing in the sigil, the player's temperature is increased by 28. Casting Blood Sigil and then Mana Push, which is a Tier 1 skill, results in Blood Tendrils, which adds 50 decay damage, 50 physical damage, and 25 impact to the Mana Push stats. It increases the player's corruption by 3%. Casting Blood Sigil and then Conjure, which is a Tier 3 Cabal Hermit skill, results in Blood Turret, which summons a decay turret above the sigil for 30 seconds, shooting once per second, dealing 15 decay damage and 10 impact per shot. It increases player corruption by 6%. Casting Blood Sigil and then Mana Ward, which is a tier 1 skill, results in Gift of Blood, which gives the player the Gift of Blood effect, which increases the player's physical, frost, and decay damage by 15%, decreasing the player's health by 1 per second, and gives a nearby co-op partner or summoned ghost the Gift of Blood ally effect, which heals them for 2 health per second at the cost of increasing their corruption by 6%. It increases the player's corruption by 3%. Rupture is an active skill that costs 10 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 10 seconds. After casting Rupture, it detonates and consumes all the hexes on nearby enemies and all nearby souls, dealing damage depending on the applied hexes. For the Chill Hex, it deals 50 frost damage and 33 impact damage. For the Curse Hex, it deals 50 decay damage and 33 impact damage. For the Doomed Hex, it deals 50 lightning damage and 33 impact damage. For the Haunted Hex, it deals 50 ethereal damage and 33 impact damage. For the Scorched Hex, it deals 50 fire damage and 33 impact damage. For the Pain Hex, it deals 50 physical damage. For the Confusion Hex, it deals 50 impact damage. For any nearby souls, it creates an AoE explosion, dealing 100 ethereal damage and 66 impact. Cleanse is an active skill that requires at least 50% corruption and a mana stone. It consumes the mana stone. There is no cooldown. After casting Cleanse, it creates a dark stone, removes 30% corruption from the player, deals 65 decay damage to the player, and inflicts extreme bleeding on the player, which deals a percentage of maximum health per second. If Mana Ward, which is a tier 1 skill, is cast right before Cleanse, the 65 decay damage is not applied. Using bandages will get rid of the extreme bleeding. Lockwell's Revelation is a passive skill that increases elemental damage by 15% when tired and increases elemental damage by 30% when very tired. This can allow players to maximize their elemental damage, but it comes at the cost of decreased stamina regeneration due to the tired status effect. In my opinion, the Hex Mage skill tree is a great option for mage builds, and it can be used in a variety of other builds. With the breakthrough skill, managing burn stats is no longer a problem that you have to deal with. If you do elemental damage, this skill tree gives a massive buff to maximize your damage. In addition, this skill tree gives you an easy way to deal with corruption. I hope you found this video informative. If you are thinking about making different builds in Outward, click on the info card for a build calculator that you might find helpful. Otherwise, I'll see you later.